And what up, you guys? Welcome back to Feral Publications YouTube channel. As always, it's me, Rich. Daily uploads helping on my own comic book store. And I will be honest that today the morning started very, very beautiful. Like breathtaking. My scenery as I walked to work. And one thing that I kept thinking about was how a lot of things that I set out to do have been working. And I really do appreciate the community showing up for it. I definitely know that I've ruffled some feathers in my time. But that was always the point of what I've been doing, right? That's why it's called feral publication. It's the idea that I'm publishing and doing things that are wild and untamed, things that will make you feel a certain kind of way. Whether good or bad is irrelevant to me, but rather the idea that I jerk you into, some sort of realization or into some sort of action, right? I think that that's kind of always been my aim to really empower and mobilize people, but sometimes maybe not necessarily in the way I would want. But that's the thing of as a person who wants to be kind of a thought agitator, I can't control where their thoughts go, and I try not to focus on that. But one thing I will say is that I definitely genuinely love surrounding myself with art. My life consists of buying comics, reading comics, selling comics, making comics, and that's a good place to be. It's where I would like to be. And I get it that it doesn't make enough for me to quit my day job tomorrow, but nonetheless, I think it's been giving me a lot more energy, especially the anti-fascist comic book reading. I was dumbfounded at how many people have been enjoying those, and how many people have been showing up to watch those, and I'm here for it. I think it's something that's a little bit therapeutic for myself because I've been enjoying it, and it's been good to just think about these ideas and really be able to vent on these topics. But on top of that, it's nice to showcase and kind of, I guess, document these comic books, because sometimes I think we take these stories for granted and we assume that they'll be around forever. But in the case of John Mueller's Oink, that's not in print no more. If you don't find the hard copies that were printed as floppies for Kinshin Sync, or the trade paperback that I got from Dark Horse, you're just never gonna find that book. You're never gonna read it. He never went back to it because he started working for that video game company. And so some of this stuff could eventually get lost, and I find it nice to be able to document some of that comic book history and document comic books that I think are worth a read that may not be easily found. Mouse is another prime example of that, of a book that I genuinely think people should read it, pick it up, peep it out, and it may not be as easy to find nowadays. And as those kind of trends continue, I definitely want to be someone who's not only advocating for the consumption of these books, but also making it as accessible as I can. And I said, going back to even the comic book stuff that I do, right, my thought is always how do I make this more accessible to everybody? I don't ever want to price people out of zines or comic books or any art. People shouldn't be priced out of art. Art is contextual, and it's the byproduct of a society, and however you want to term it, right? I think it's something that, if done properly and done right, adds a lot of value to people's lives, and it shouldn't cost them their whole check. It's actually one of the things I like about comic books, actually, that I feel it's such a low entry point for art, but the art's amazing, the story's amazing, right? I think of OMAC with Jim Starlin and Kirby, and I think about the original Fantastic Four run and how pulpy that was, and how many great ideas and great stories were found in there. I could go on and on about different artists and different stories that meant something and said something, and sometimes it was contextual, right, based upon that time, that era, versus other times where it's it's just thoughts and theories about the world and what's humanity's place in it, and what's Earth in the galaxy, and all these great abstract philosophical ideas. And it should be something that's easily accessible, whether that be by price or just by the distribution of. And I think that the comic book industry has lost that, and that's definitely one thing that I want to get back to. And that's kind of what I built my whole model on. And the proof is in the pudding, right? Because it's been working, and the more I build that up, I think the more it will work. And that's the plan. That's what I'm up to, But yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys today, man. I just wanted to chit chat, reflect with you guys. Like I said, I do this daily, man, but not every day do I come 100%, and that's the truth. But I feel like today I definitely had a lot to say, and I appreciate you guys for hearing me out. All right, you guys, as always, please like, share, subscribe, and I do this shit daily. So guess what? I'll be back tomorrow. Lates.